Alright. Call me Mr. Bean now. It's all about being a lot. Well, today's not going to be about being, although in a way it is. But about time. I don't fucking know. A long story short, without going too deep into it, let's just say one of my ideas was approached upon by someone else, and they related it to another idea, and it's been sparking up interest in my mind because I think it's actually a really fruitful connection to make. Long story short is that let's approach the idea of abstract objects, right? And let's just assume, to get by the argumentation, that we view everything the concept of abstract objects. You don't actually see the tree, you see or how to say it, the mental direction, interaction, action towards an object. The content of it is an abstract object. You are directing towards a literal object. It's just the meaning of it, you could say, is abstract. So in that case, all mental thoughts, all things really in themselves are abstract. This is the crazy part, though, how that relates with time. Because you could argue, if you're a presentist, that to make sense of previous objects who don't have existence, you're not actually relating it to the literal object, you're actually talking about the abstract object. That's really interesting, because if you go by that approach, then the A series of time is more or less the way to go. Because I guess you still have a B theory, but the whole thing is that at that point it doesn't really matter. It's kind of redundant, I should say, to have a B theory at that point, because you're basically admitting that through time you're only really dealing with abstract objects, even when objects pass through time, and there's no longer are existent things. You're not talking about the literal thing. You're talking about the mental aspect of it, the mental absorption of that object, as I guess you could say the noema, through the noetic action. So this is the interesting. I mean, that's the real point right there, really. That really sparked up my thought here, and I think it can draw. Sorry, it is so dark around here. I think you can draw a C-series approach to the issue, in a sense, because time is then not evolved. But the fundamental point is a presentist approach would be helped immensely by the idea of abstract objects. Because if I were to say, okay, I see a pole, where's the pole? You're just admitting the reality of the present. Where is it? Where was it then? Or is it in the past, right? But if you just do the abstract objects, you're not dealing with that anymore. You don't have to have that objection go at you. Now, for growing block theorists, I mean, it might not be so helpful. Certainly not for internalists. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of it, and I thought that was a really interesting point. And by then, even if you're dealing with the abstract object, and if you're going to really almost the infinite view, let's just say, without getting too convoluted, then every instance of an abstract object is itself a unique abstract object. It's not just PQZ, it's P1, P2, P3, Q1, Q2, Q3, Z1, Z2, Z3. It's different instances as well. And then in that sense, then you're saying, okay, then which abstract object are we talking about in time? Then you're saying the one now. And then you can be like, okay, how do we connect them? And then you say you don't. I'm not talking about a type of the abstract object. I certainly can. I could use I can consider noematic poles and stuff like that, but in reality, if we're going the real anarchic route, we can totally be like, we are dealing with every abstract every abstract object in the broadest sense, in any context, for infinity, for eternity, every single concept in reality, and in every instance of that concept, complete infinity. And I think it's actually kind of coherent at the same time. I don't think having that problem is a problem at all. So yeah, abstract objects and presentism, bro.